Hey everyone, welcome to week 2. The Bills pretty much on cruise control straight through the Jets in week 1, onto the Dolphins in week 2. The Bills beat the Jets by a score of 27-17, and while the margin of victory is only 10 points, the game was not nearly as close as that might lead you to believe, from my personal perspective at least. 5, maybe 10 minutes into the game, 2 or 3 Jet possessions, it was pretty clear that they had no shot, that they were just going to be completely non-threatening to the Bills all day long. Even on their first possession, they get a penalty on their very first kick return of the season. They start at the 9, 3 plays, 3 yards, punt. And the Bills, just like they did on their first possession against the Jets in the opener last year, go into Jets territory and fumble. So obviously I'm a little bit concerned, but they give the ball back to the Jets, 3 plays, 1 yard, punt. Bills get the ball back, same story, right down the field, touchdown, 7-0, Josh Allen with his legs on the bootleg, beautiful. Give the ball back to the Jets, 3 plays, 31 seconds, no yards, punt. And I'm just like, okay, the Bills are going to be able to do whatever they want against this team. The Jets are exactly who I sort of previewed them to be last week. They have a couple of nice players here and there, but overall they're just a collection of players. They have no plan with Adam Gase, no identity of what they want to do with Le'Veon Bell. They have no really good receivers. They have maybe an up-and-comer in Denzel Mims who couldn't play, but not very talented on offense overall. Not very talented on defense, and that is the recipe for disaster. They are a complete and total embarrassment in my eyes. And prove me wrong. Tell me how you could have watched that game and prove me wrong. They didn't get a first down until, was it 21-0 by the time they got a first down? It was not 21-0. It was 14-0 by the time they got a first down. They had one first down. They punt. The Bills go up 21-0. The Jets get the ball back. They throw an interception, and then Josh Allen starts at midfield. He ends up fumbling inside the 20, gives the ball back to the Jets. They kick the field goal and make it 21-3 at halftime. And even on that drive, they were almost operating as if they were playing for the field goals. If they're not down 21-0 in the first half, it would just be so embarrassing to be a Jets fan. But on the other side of the coin, as a Bills fan, this is me all day. I'm not happy about the fumbles. I'm not happy about the missed field goals, but I know we're going to win this game. High fives all around here and there. My friends that I was watching the game with got a little bit concerned when Jamison Crowder scored that 69-yard touchdown. But I'm just sitting back guys, they hit one play purely by accident, by a missed tackle or two, and it's 21-10. I know that some Bills fans are programmed to think that way because of how they've experienced the Bills over the past 20 years. But like I said, the Jets gave you no reason to believe that they were coming back to win that game. None whatsoever. Obviously, as I just touched on, a little disappointed in the Allen fumbles. Obviously, it's 2 in the first half. The 2 missed field goals, maybe 1 missed field goal. They were talking about it on the broadcast like it went through. I feel like that's kind of embarrassing for the NFL. Just look at it. It's technically a scoring play. Technically, maybe the Bills would have had to challenge it. I don't know if they would have won, but Gene Steratore, who's one of your old referees, comes on the broadcast and is like, "Yeah, it looks pretty good to me, I guess." That's embarrassing for the league as a whole. Just taking points off the board and whatnot. It ended up not mattering, but it doesn't really change the principle of the situation. Fortunately, none of those came back to bite the Bills. There was maybe some concern about Tyler Bass heading into the game. We have a rookie who hasn't even been able to kick in preseason. We're just throwing him out there. But he goes 3 for 3 on his first 3 extra points, then misses 2 field goals, then makes 2 field goals. So hopefully his confidence isn't really too rattled at that point because he is kind of 3 of 4. Officially, statistically, he's only 2 of 4, but he was kind of 3 of 4. That's a little concerning because you're going to need to hit kicks. This is something we talked about last year. You're going to need to be able to, A, attempt the kicks, and that's why Hauschka is gone in the first place, and then B, make the kicks. So that will be a story at some point throughout the season because not all of the Bills' opponents are of the caliber of the Jets. The other thing that I touched on is Josh Allen fumbling. This has to stop. The Bills had 10 possessions on Sunday. They could have scored on 9 of them. They punted just once coming out of the third quarter, which is something I guess I'll touch on in just a second here. But, I mean, the game could have been... I mean, they could have gone down and scored a touchdown on those two Allen fumbles. One of them was at like the 13-yard line, right? So, I mean, let's just give him a touchdown and a field goal. I have every reason to believe they would have scored on the first drive that he fumbled on, or at least attempted a field goal. So it's like maybe 31-0 with like 5 minutes to go in the first half. Like the Jets are getting the 2-minute drill down 31-0, essentially. And those possessions, they didn't make a difference against the Jets, but they will make a difference against like the Patriots and the Chiefs and the good teams that you play. I mean, that's pretty obvious. That doesn't really need to be said by me. You don't need to hear me say it. He can't be fumbling the football like that. He's fumbled the ball 24 times in 29 career games. And last year he fumbled 14 times and only lost 4. That's pretty lucky. I think just by matter of fact, it's like a flip of a coin. Just by fumbling, it should be 50-50 whether you recovered or not. So he should have lost 3 more. And if he loses 3 more fumbles last year, do they lose 3 more games? That might be a bit of a dramatic, maybe a drastic reaction. But it's not out of the realm of possibility to think it would have cost him maybe 1. Go from 10-6 to 9-7, and then then you're a fringe playoff team. You're not clinching in week whatever they did against the Steelers in week 15. You're not playing the last 2 weeks to maybe try to win a division and then resting your starters in week 17. I mean, it goes without saying, turnovers matter. And the last thing that I would really critique the Bills about would be the third quarter Bills. It looked like they looked like the third quarter Bills again that we saw last year that was really ugly at times. They come out of the half with the ball, it's 21-3, 3 plays, no yards, and they punt. Then they get the ball back, miss a field goal. The Jets, I believe, scored after that to make it 21-10. The Bills get the ball back and miss a field goal. It's like, oh my God, what is with the third quarter in this team? I don't understand how they come out of the locker room so flat like that sometimes. And that has really carried, that's the one thing, I suppose, that you could say has maybe carried over from last year that could be concerning at this point. But overall, you have to be pleased. I mean, how many times have you watched a Bills game? I mean, for me personally, I can't say that I have too many times. Maybe a couple of times last year. Denver wasn't very threatening. Washington wasn't very threatening. The Dolphins, the second time in Miami, the Bills had a pretty good handle on that game. But I'm just sitting there like, I've never experienced so little stress watching a Bills game. And I really don't know how to explain it. It was just like, oh, is this what it's like to be good? Is this what good teams do? You're faced with a bad team and you just roll over them? I mean, of course, I think a lot of fans would expect that. But, like, you're just, okay, well, we're turning on the TV to a game we know we're going to win. Like, that's different. That is different for us. We're not used to being like a shoo-in for the playoffs, and I'm not saying that we are a shoo-in for the playoffs this year, but teams that are shoo-ins for the playoffs have games like they did this past Sunday against the Jets, against bad teams at home. So that's encouraging. What else? Sunday, what was I going to say? The no fans thing. That was a little different watching it on TV because big plays are happening and you don't hear the reaction really. Allen goes on the bootleg and you don't hear the roar, the bootleg towards the end zone for the first touchdown. The Milano interception, it was different. It was definitely different, and I'm not even used to watching home games from my home to begin with. And so it was different, but was it like devastating? Only for me not to be there, I suppose. I would just love to be there and experience that with 70,000+ people. But other than that, it's really not a deal breaker. I was happy to spend the day with some of my friends. Coming in to week 2, let's move on. The Bills will play the Dolphins. The Dolphins lost to the Patriots 21-11. They got bad fits. Bad fits came through. While he completed 20 of 30, he had 3 interceptions. They were pretty poor on offense, to say the least, throughout most of the game. And I know that they really didn't know what to expect from New England offensively, at least, because Cam Newton is obviously completely different from Tom Brady, so they probably weren't ready for 15 quarterback rushes for 75 yards. But Newton also goes 15 of 19, 155 passing. He rushes for the 2 touchdowns. They rushed for 217 yards and showed that they were having trouble setting the edge against quarterbacks. So, hello, Josh Allen. Enter Josh Allen, who is good at rushing the ball, who has rushed pretty well against them in years past. I believe his rookie year, what did he have? Bear with me. I believe he had 135 yards, I think, in his first start against them, right? His rookie season. I'm looking that up currently, but they were clearly having trouble setting the edge with Cam Newton on the run. Sorry, I was trying to do 2 things at once, and I apologize. Here it is. The Bills ended up losing this game. This is their only loss to the Dolphins since Sean McDermott has been there. They're 5-1. But yeah, Allen, 9 carries, 135 yards in that start. And now I'm pulling up his stats for 4 games against the Dolphins, so please, once again, bear with me. He has, in his last 3 starts, they're all wins against the Dolphins, 11 touchdowns total. That's 8 passing. Wow, I'm looking at this all wrong. 8 passing and 3 rushing against the Dolphins. Just 1 interception, no fumbles lost. So he has been very good against the Dolphins so far in his young career, a 3-1 record. And as I said, the Bills under McDermott are 5-1. They won both games in 2017, the drought-breaking year with Tyrod Taylor. So this week, we can hope for bad fits. That's something we can all keep our fingers crossed for, because you just never know what you're getting with the guy. But I feel like Dolphins fans overall are sort of going to be ready to go to Tua, especially if this game doesn't go well. So this might be Fitz's last sort of chance. This might be his last chance to start a game, because if this doesn't go well, there's a pretty good chance that Tua comes in maybe in week 3. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not totally in tune with that situation. But I do like the Bills a lot heading into this game. My concerns would be the health of Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano. They both left the Jets game with injuries, and if they are unavailable, I think the Bills at the second level are obviously much weaker. But the fact that they haven't brought anybody in or worked anybody out, that's got to be a good sign for at least one of them, right? I know that they'll still have A.J. Klein in the mix there, but Delshon Phillips was hurt as well. I think even Tyrell Dodson was banged up a little bit. So they were really short on bodies at linebacker, and they're not bringing anybody in, so they must be optimistic about somebody's availability this week. Having said all of that, even with, Devontae Parker looks like he's going to come back, and he played pretty well against Tre'Davious White last year, especially in the second game. He had 7 for 135. Of course, the Bills were up pretty big in that game. He did have 5 for 55 and a touchdown in the first game. That was a 31-21 win in Buffalo. However, it was a little bit closer than that. As you might remember, like Micah Hyde returned an onside kick attempt for a touchdown to make it 31-21. And Miami was leading, in the third quarter during those third quarter Bills. But the Bills are favored by 5.5. I think the Bills are a better team. I like the way that they got Diggs, Beasley, Brown all involved. They're all on pace. I know it's only been one game, but Diggs going 8 for 86. That's nice if he can do that, pretty consistently. He'll have a tougher matchup this week with Xavier Howard, who probably will play more of the snaps this week, and Byron Jones out there. They got a couple good corners. Noah Igbenogany, a really talented rookie. I like what they have on the defensive line a little bit. I like Godchaux, our old friend Shaq. But like I said, Shaq having some problems maybe setting the edge against Cam. That could be an issue for them against Josh Allen in particular. My one gripe, I suppose, with that would be Allen. I didn't touch on this earlier. Does Allen need to be running when we're up 21 points? Do we have to have designed runs for Josh Allen up 21? Not really. I don't think so. Maybe we can just do away with that. I want to keep running him because he's good at it. But does he have to keep doing designed runs when we seem to pretty much have the game in hand? I think that can maybe be adjusted throughout the playbook as we move on. But overall, I feel like really good about this this team, mostly because of the team they just played. And I'm going a little bit over my time here. So, guys, I just wanted to make this point. Like, look at the Jets. The Jets drafted Sam Darnold the same year that the Bills drafted Josh Allen, and look where they are. The Browns drafted Baker Mayfield the same year the Bills drafted Josh Allen, and look where they are. They just got killed. They're sure they're going to be no threat in the division probably to Baltimore. So it seems like the Bills, this is new territory for all of us as Bills fans. They may be the right situation, coach, quarterback, owner, all of that. Front office, I guess I was going to say. Coach and front office, the landing spot for the quarterback was the right spot. I'm just really excited about it. And you should be too. Because we're not used to hearing that. Oh, like people who talk about the Bills, I'm like, well, that's a really good situation there for Josh Allen. What? We haven't heard about that about a quarterback. I don't ever, at least since social media and stuff became a thing. That hasn't been a thing for the Bills. So I'm super excited about it. And hopefully you guys are too. Guys, I want to say thank you because I appreciate all of you for coming this far in the video, for bearing with me through. I tend to typically only go 15 minutes, but I rambled a little bit. I'm going to get to my pick. I'm going to pick the Bills to beat the Dolphins in front of 13,000 fans or so in Miami. And I'm going to pick them to beat the Dolphins. I think they might have a little bit more trouble, maybe kick some more field goals. Hopefully Tyler Bass is up to it. Let's say 23-16. 23-16 Bills. Guys, hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter handle and YouTube username are the same. Once again, thank you for coming this far in the video. Thank you for subscribing, commenting, everything, all of that. I appreciate every single one of you. Have a great weekend. Above all else, as always, go Bills.